Shauna. Well, we are thrilled, delighted, excited, pleased to be here. So when we thought about what we wanted to say, it was really a matter of being able to operationalize what we have available, but what we're all trying to tackle with AI, and to make it something that we can actually do on a regular basis. So to start off with do we have remotes? You have remotes.
There we go.
Thank you very much. Oh, it's so simple. It's just like green and red. I can do this. So to start off with, I think, from a PR professional's point of view, we all understand that what makes the news does not start in the news. And this is where we truly see AI providing that significant advantage for our industry. So to start with, we're going to pick a very well-known example of Blue Origin. This is, of course, Jeff Bezos' effort to gobble up space terrain. However, I would say that most of us are really familiar with it because of the Girl Boss launch seen around the world. So this is really, this was a PR event. It was a success. You had celebrities blasting into space for sort of questionable purpose, but at the same time, it certainly drove the headlines. The suits were spectacular. The color was perfect for everybody. You had truly accomplished, deserving astrophysicists blasting off, as well as then those notable celebrities like Katy Perry, of course, Gayle King, and Lauren Sanchez. So this certainly made the headlines, but it really doesn't tell the whole story of what is the strategy for Blue Origin. So that is not it. Did I hit the wrong button? That's not it. I'm going to try the other button. That's not it. Let's just keep pushing forward and see what. Nope.
Go on with the story. We will figure out what the next slide is.
So I'm just going to keep. It's got to be here somewhere. So going into the strategy for Blue Origin, there's quite a bit that they have on the agenda. So one is they are expediting their launches. They want as many launches as possible in 2025, 2026. This is to both be able to show that they can scale the process, but also that they can hit that kind of frequency. Because as we all know, Amazon is all about supply chain, and that is the name of the game for Blue Origin. So with that, they are moving from an R&D position company to being fully operational. They are showing that they can score those national security and government contracts. They are also really interested in reusables. So again, taking a more sustainable approach towards space and being able to reuse a lot of the equipment that they use in each launch, recover it, fix it up, send it out, all again to show that they can both scale in the space race as well as then handle that supply chain. So they're really hitting on a number of factors. Without having slides to illustrate all of the competitors, it is a very crowded space. So when you look at who their competitors are, the obvious ones, of course, there's NASA. You've got your other governmental, this is really lacking without the illustration. You've got your other governmental companies like the Japanese aerospace, India's in the game, China's in the game. There are a few others that are also in the game. But then you've got your very notable private competitors like SpaceX. Never makes any headlines. But so within that competitive set, they are looking at a really complex industry. So not only is it emerging and it's dynamic and changing constantly, but it is also highly competitive. It is extremely technical. It is high investment, and that then leads to a tremendously complex set of stakeholders. So when we think about your average B2B stakeholders, we've got all of those. There's, of course, regulators, there are your investors, there are certainly the media. There's also this other interest where they are trying to really drive that brand recognition. And so with that, you've got consumers, you've got academic and scholarly audiences. That's also your talent channel too. So it's really, like the full suite of possible stakeholders, they've got them all. So with that, I'm going to look at my notes because I don't remember what comes next. Is it working?
No.
Okay.
Handing to me?
I think, you know what? Let's hand it
Let's
to
hand
you.
to me. Let's see how
Let's see how this goes. We're going to do
So
shadow puppets to illustrate.
Let's do exactly that. So as Kate has started to try to describe to all of you in the room, one of the big challenges is getting across vast amounts of disparate and varied data sets so that you can find the pattern, spot the emerging trend and find the needle in your particular haystack. So initially I'd like to sort of deal slightly separately with data and AI before I bring those two things together. A key complication, again, as Kate was starting to set up, is that across the billions of data points that are available, certainly the millions of data points that are generated every day, is the need to get across that really quickly so that you can understand, identify, extract and analyse. And professionals in this space routinely cite frustration with needing multiple outlets and multiple tools to get the information that they need. Many agencies are using as many as 40 to 50 plus different tools to enable them to analyse, track social, track media, and create reports and create deliverables. So fragmentation in itself is actually a significant impediment that prevents communicators from seeing the complete picture, risking missing information or duplicating data sets so that you don't miss anything, ultimately really reducing capacity to respond to the new challenges and emerging opportunities. And let me just see if I've got some slides to give you a visual yet. No, that's okay, no problem. Hope you're all with me so far. Yeah, you play. So bringing that all together is fundamental to improve efficiency and to accurately predict, diagnose and extract the insight. And AI is only as good as the data that it is working on. So we harness primary sources, patent registrations, court and company filings, as well as trusted premium sources to reveal those earliest inflection points, giving you a jump start on foresight before the information starts to be triangulated and picked up more widely. Our first focus at LexisNexis as we started to leverage AI was to ensure that we had the best and most complete data, giving relief from fragmentation and bringing regulatory, financial policy and media worlds together in one environment.
Oh, we have slides.
Lovely, good. Do you want us to start again? Lovely, thank you. Do you want me to have that, Kate?
Yeah, okay, you're good.
Thank you. I think that's the one I want. That's the one I want. I'll just show you. That was what I was talking to earlier, and just listing the breadth of the data set that we focused on, particularly as we've started to leverage AI. So bringing those together, absolutely vital. And then kind of moving on to, well, sort of what does that mean for AI that has exploded into all of our lives in the last couple of years? AI now is ubiquitous. However you feel about it, it is everywhere. Everybody is trying to understand what it means for them now and in the future. It's no longer a competitive advantage. It is table stakes, and on its own, it doesn't move the needle. And as I've mentioned, and I'm sure many of you in this room has experienced, it is only as good as the data that it is utilising. So cohesion with the data is absolutely fundamental. And at the moment, the established players and the startups, there seems to be a bit of a dichotomy between those that have comprehensive and reliable data and those that have robust technology. In LexisNexis, what we do is we utilize generative and agentic AI to integrate and support communicators through their workflow. What's available currently is being able to answer complex questions, undertake complex research and monitoring, all with multi-sourced traceable insights, unlocking value from your own documents, and creating well-structured citation-backed communications to save you drafting time. So you can go from blank page to a first draft within moments. And we're developing out AI using strict standards and principles. We only use AI within the parameters of our approved data. No data or user documents are used for training. Humans continue to be in the loop throughout, and we take a multi-model approach. So one, to hedge against any potential weaknesses in any one model, but also ensuring that we're using truly the best model for the particular task at hand. And all of our sources are complete and traceable, so a user can verify, they can understand the surrounding context, and they can utilize our authoritative and reliable data. So then starting to pick up actually on some of the earlier conversations too. So our vision is that everyone in organizations worldwide will have a personalized virtual assistant who is continuously monitoring for you, surfacing critical changes, and delivering tailored research, analysis, and execution support wherever those professionals are at. Just to call out here, what I'm showing you is Kei-Fu Lee's analysis, which identified PR directors and communication leaders and professionals in the safe zone because they are inherently social, creative, and strategic. But also to call out our own research shows, possibly understandably, that AI is not seen as desirable for higher risk tasks. And the beauty of what communicators do is bringing their expertise and adding their own value. So AI we see more as a sort of force multiplier, creating those opportunities for creative thinking, for strategic thinking, and integrating the lived experience. We think the opportunity with AI is in pairing human creativity and context along with always-on trusted intelligence. So what does that mean for where we're going next and some of the things that we're thinking about? So where we already have generative and agentic workflows for discovery and analysis, what can we explore next? So always on agents which continuously monitor based on your interests or past activity, surfacing those regulatory shifts, competitor moves, and emerging trends. Also intent-driven alerting, so understanding the context behind your query, not just the keywords that you've inputted, and detecting and triggering alerts based on that intent so you're able to stay ahead rather than chasing the development. And then facilitating scale, so agents which again continuously monitor events, entities, and topics so that you can identify those risk signals and those opportunities earlier, so you are proactive and creating proactive leadership moments rather than reacting to potential crises. Coming also is integrating with your maintained documents, which we think will be a real productivity gain, which agents will integrate fresh insights into your key documents, whether it's a briefing note, a competitor dossier, or indeed a client report, maintaining full change history, and interactive analytics, again, where we're creating visualizations that are adaptive and clear and built for influence, so that AI isn't just about doing more with the data, it's about doing more with the insights that are coming from it. So faster insights, powerful analysis, and always on monitoring. And of course, we will continue to provide additional opportunities to generate highly customized communications for differing audiences in moments. And I will hand back to Kate to talk a little bit more about what that means for Blue Origin.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I'm actually going to jump back, if you bear with me, to just do a whole bunch of clicking here. Okay, so just to dive into exactly the sources that we're working with. There's of course the traditional media, social media. That's really been our bread and butter for a long time. However, in order to get that advantage, in order to really harness the information and the insights that you need in order to lead strategy rather than react, There's a number of different sources that, especially for B2B, but also for B2C, are really important. So the primary sources of policy change, regulatory change, sanctions and watch lists, especially when one of your competitors is Elon Musk, that's very important. Company hierarchies, data, ESG ratings is another one that is always important. It seems to ebb and flow as far as what kind of priority it is. However, what we see over time is that being able to dive into governance especially is incredibly important in informing how you shape your narrative. You've also got intellectual property in an emerging field like privatized space. Being able to track trademarks, copyrights, patent applications is a phenomenal way to get that advantage and get ahead of where the story is going, not just for you, but for your competitors as well. Then company and financial information. We just saw a couple days ago, this was not big news, so if nobody in this room knows this, that's A-okay. But apparently Elon Musk had a little bit of a meltdown. And when his financials were called into question, SpaceX wound up having to come back with a very simplified application, and Blue Origin won the bulk of the next lunar landing contract with NASA because of it. Being able to understand where you and your competitors sit in as far as financial reporting and market analyses is incredibly empowering. And then, of course, your internal and primary data. So being able to pipe in your own employee feedback, being able to understand where things stand as far as your pipeline goes, in addition to all of this external data, is really important. And then also, when we look at secondary sources, it's not just social and traditional media. One area that we're seeing a lot of activity, especially in the tech space, is on podcasts. Being able to analyze podcast transcripts is incredibly valuable. And we see within that sort of professional audience that this is something that is only increasing in the value of it. So there is a tremendous amount of opportunity here. It's just a matter of mining it. And one of the things that we have learned is that AI actually does a great job of doing the mining, illuminating where those inflection points between data sources, so then you can develop the strategy, which is as much art as science. So now, sorry about the motion sickness, I'm going to keep jumping ahead. So here's how you operationalize it. It's really pretty simple when you get down to brass tacks. The first thing is you want to identify the credible information that is relevant to your specific stakeholders. So even if you are just on, I'm old, so on paper with a pencil, writing out your stakeholders and identifying what are the data sources that, one, they're paying attention to, they're feeding into, and being able to sort of set forth your agenda of here are the channels that you want to make sure that you are watching. From there, you establish what those early indicators are. So what are the signals, what are the thresholds that are going to matter most? That's very important for training your agents to be able to surface when something changes and it matters, not just when it changes and it doesn't matter. You also want to figure out what channels you want to have that ongoing monitoring in real time. And then this is, of course, we are at a measurement and evaluation conference, a great time to get your KPIs in. So once you have all that, then you develop your AI to support it. This can be done either in broad strokes, it can be done channel by channel or stakeholder by stakeholder. But the most important thing is that you are developing an output that gives you a fast and easy read, as simple as possible, that's going to have the right thresholds in place for what you need. And then finally, basically, it's rinse and repeat. So once you have that output and it's coming in a format that you are comfortable with, that you feel like you can navigate efficiently, the goal is that this just continues to be on cycle so that it's there for you, that it's supporting you. So what would this look like for Blue Origin? This slide might look vaguely familiar, but it's always on agents. So monitoring news and social, of course, podcasts, of course. It's also looking at primary sources for those competitor events that might be of interest to you. So whether it's in their financial reporting, again, sanctions, watch list, anything like that. And then you also want to have issues indicators for individuals, groups, topics, and competitors. So while Jeff Bezos may not be quite as exciting as Elon Musk, it's just as important to watch one as the other. So then you want to make sure that you are creating your intent-driven alerting. So setting up alerts for traditional social, podcast, broadcast, radio, the list goes on, PEPs, sanctions. All of that is not necessarily to blast out to everyone, but to tailor who that goes to. So who are the interested parties who need to have this information? Then you want to make sure that you're using AI to generate your custom communications. So rather than just doing a daily newsletter, how about doing a daily newsletter that is designed for your stakeholder, that's giving the right people the information that they're interested in? This also means that it's not necessarily just pulling headlines, but it's pulling all of the events that are important for them and summarizing it. So how can you get out there with, if it is patent information, and that's really important for your IP group or your technology group, all of that, you want them to get that information, but you may not care if your comms people get that, or you may not care if your C-suite gets that. So developing those customized communications helps you be more efficient, making sure that the right people have the right information at the right time. Then you integrate your updates so that basically if you want to have a dossier for new employees who are onboarding, if you want to have a dossier for your board to be able to jump in and see where things stand, you have a living, breathing document that they can go into. It's got the version history, but it's also updated in real time to make sure that it's getting the most recent information. Multiple entity monitoring. This is near and dear to my heart because I think it's something that we have sort of been trying to crack as an industry for a long time. This is basically a way that you can set up, it's almost a prettier, more complex table, but you've got all of the things that you're looking to monitor. So whether it's topics, competitors, executives, and then customizing what criteria you are monitoring them on. If it's ESG, that's one thing. If it's looking at where they stand in a legal matter, that's another thing. If it's just looking at negative and positive news, that could be helpful too. But being able to set up that multiple entity monitoring where you can click in real time and get all of the details that you want on what's going on at any point of the day and have that as a living, breathing document. And then finally, interactive analytics. This is another one where that customization as far as who you're delivering to and really knowing your audience can make a difference. So if you want to make sure that your board has a general high-level understanding of where things stand, you can create that analytics report that gets sent out to them that has summary, that has insights, that's not just blasting data to them, but it's giving it meaning. And then you can also create one that's just for your comms team. How are the messages pulling through? What's going on with that? So being able to customize all of those things really it creates a cycle of sort of that living strategy that continues to update over time. So really in sum, I think the takeaway that we have come down to after a few years of working at this is really, one, AI of course is not a replacement, but rather it's an enabler. It lets you go from lagging indicators to truly being able to crunch a tremendous amount of data to get those leading indicators. And it helps you to create a strategy that is living, that is dynamic, and that is updated as fast as the news can be made, or any event can be made for that matter. But it's really about how you get ahead of that news cycle, and the way that you do that is by leaning into the quality data and developing the kind of process that you need to be able to sort of enable that. Questions?
Question, but I'll ask you to please wait until the microphone gets to you for the benefit of our virtual audience. All right, I will take the first question then. First, you're welcome. Kate asked me to please challenge her during the presentation so she could really show the resilience and the thoroughness of and the preparation of brand. So I think that hit the mark. Can everybody agree to that?
Thank
Nailed
you.
it.
Thank you.
Delivered. When you guys are going through these case studies, I think obviously the Blue Horizon is a great example. When you're looking with a client, do you do like deconstruction of real reputation pieces first to be able to then accurately apply this? And what role does AI play in that as you guys are doing that versus kind of that critical thinking logic that you would apply from the internal team?
So I can answer that personally. So I think AI is great for discovery. If you want to get smart, I mean, I will admit I may not be the most sophisticated aerospace person in the world. And so if you want to be able to get smart and have those really informed conversations, AI is incredibly valuable for that. So I would say that AI plays a role with discovery. I think generally, if you have a client coming in, that strategy is something that they've put their blood, sweat, and tears into. And so you don't mess with their strategy, but rather it's about enabling it. And so I do think it's more of that human connection, sort of with the onboarding and getting things going, using it to get informed as quickly as possible, using it to identify. You may not know all of the stakeholders. AI can help with that. You may not know all the competitors. AI can help with that. So getting smart around a topic is great, but I think that when you are sort of figuring out how to deconstruct from the strategy to what we need, there is that human element of being able to really have those conversations and say what matters most to you. And I don't know that I have a hard time believing AI will ever do that better because it really is about meaning.
I love that. And I think you did talk about the examples of the data that you guys are, working with within your agents. Does that vary as far as the priority and the importance of those data sets of getting accurate information from industry to industry and client to client? Can you talk a little bit about how you're qualifying the data quality that you're using in order to advise and counsel them?
Absolutely. So I think, and this is generally speaking, but certainly for B2B, those primary sources become all the more important because you're dealing with a number of industry experts. And so being able to be really smart and look to the sources that matter. That said, I think it really is on a brand by brand basis or a challenge by challenge basis, you are deciding what those priorities are. It may be, certainly within PR work, it may be that the brand is a strong B2B brand and they're trying to achieve something. However, your specific task is internal communications. So you're going to shift the data sources dramatically based on what the challenge is. So it really is about understanding those stakeholders and then figuring out what are going to be the most important data sets that are going to inform on them. And it's usually going to be a hybrid of primary and secondary sources. It also could very well be a hybrid that includes internal data, in which case making sure that you know how to ingest it, how to keep it safe. But that can be is a recipe that can be incredibly elucidating.
Brilliant. Another round of applause, please, for... we have one more question. Asim Sood, please hold on.
Hi. I really like the way you use distinct data sets, but I have two questions. One, when you're working on a case study like the one that you presented, are you working with multiple departments in the client organization which are focusing on different areas? And if not, have you ever faced a situation wherein a comms person comes back to you and says, you know what, those are areas wherein we have experts in other departments and I don't want to get into that. What has your experience been?
Absolutely. I think that happens frequently. I mean, there's so much data. It's about finding the right data for your challenge. And so it may be that, again, with a Blue Origin, all of that data that could be really valuable. But if you are really just working with the marketing team and it's about marketing a specific launch, a lot of that data might be irrelevant, in which case that's when you pull that out or dial it way back and dial up what's going to matter most. And so I think that is something that we are best positioned over AI to be able to make those judgment calls of, again, what's going to matter most. And being able to have sort of the analytical models that are flexible enough that you can draw back on certain data, you can sort of increase the value of other data to be able to weight it accordingly.
And just to make the point that the data that we're showing here, that does sit together and the AI will interact with all of that and select what is relevant for the particular query or research that's being done, just in that more general context.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you for the question, Asim. Thank you again, Kate and Nicola. We really
You're
appreciate you. A
welcome.
round of
Thank
applause,
you.
please.
Thank you.